this is my review of Sonic X. Okay, so in this episode, the gang actually finds the 6th Chaos Emerald, but not in the way they were probably expecting it to find it. So, here's how the story plays out. First and foremost, the president is actually developing his own Eggman-esque robot, which he nicknames Project Beetle, and is developing it in their secret military base that we saw in one of the earlier episodes. So, I forget what the actual name is, but he's built. In any case, he's building his own robot, so we're eventually going to see that. But more importantly, so Topaz and Rouge are actually sitting outside of a jewelry shop with Rouge contemplating whether or not she should steal them, with Topaz not adamantly disapproving. But while they're sitting out front watching the people go by and actually just sitting, having a bit of a back and forth about whether the ethics of stealing jewelry, Nelson Thorndyke shows up in his limousine and actually goes into the jewelry shop they were eyeing. And unwittingly, he buys a Chaos Emerald and has it fitted for a ring. So yeah, he buys the purple Chaos Emerald and has it fitted for a ring, and he's planning to give it to Lindsey for their wedding anniversary. So yeah, he's planning to give her a Chaos Emerald as an anniversary present. I don't think that's going to go over very well, but I mean, we knew it's not going to go over very well, but it's not going to end well. But in any case, Rouge and Topaz quickly realize that Nelson doesn't realize how valuable the Chaos Emerald actually is, and begin tailing him. So Nelson's on his way back home. He calls up Chris at home and tells him what's going on, more or less. He doesn't tell him about the anniversary part, but he kind of forgets. He kind of just glances over that. But basically, he calls to see if Lindsey is home, and when Chris reveals that she isn't, he asks instead for the entire family to meet him at the movie studio where Lindsey works. And sure enough, everybody does and gets ready to go over, but they have no real idea why they're going over there. That he never explained the reason. He does eventually, but not until they're already there. So yeah, in any case, Tails prepares the X Tornado to take off, and has actually fitted the 4 Chaos Emeralds that they have into the X Tornado. And Chris, very curiously, because he doesn't know the answer to this question, asks how many Chaos Emeralds there actually are, and how many they're actually missing. So, and Tails remarks that they have 4. They have 4, and Knuckles has a 5th one, and so they're only really missing 2. And Chris is pretty happy that they're missing 2. But Tails also points out that it's kind of dangerous for Chaos Emeralds to be close to one another without growing accustomed to each other's energy first. Because if they didn't, they would cause a power surge. Remember that. But in case, after giving that little bit of expository information, everybody heads off to Lindsey's movie studio with all Chris and all of his Mobian friends getting into the X Tornado and taking it that way. While Chuck drives Ella and Mr. Tanaka in his car, and they all head to the movie studio, which Mr. Stewart notices and immediately starts tailing them. So he gets into his car and begins tailing them because he's curious as to what's going on, because the X Tornado if the X Tornado is out and about, he's usually suspicious of it. He doesn't have much of a reason to be yet, but he is immediately skeptical that the X Tornado is being pulled out and immediately follows them. So they all eventually arrive at the movie studio and meet up with Nelson, who hasn't met any of the Mobians yet, and actually greets them all personally, and is especially congratulatory to Sonic, because he didn't get to really congratulate Sonic on his race yet. So he congratulates him in this episode. Because Nelson kind of just travels a lot, so we don't get to see much of him. But when he does show up, he tries his best to actually be a good father and a good friend to everybody. So, and this is one of those occasions. But in case, he also shakes the hand of Mr. Stewart, who everybody realizes just kind of tailed them, and they're not entirely sure why he's there. And sure enough, Chuck asks a very important question: why is everybody there? And sure enough, Nelson reveals exactly why they're there, and that's their wedding anniversary, and explains his plan to everybody. And including Topaz and Rouge, who are now hiding in the air vents. But he explains his plan to everybody. He plans to basically dress up as one of the lead characters in Lindsey's movie, and walk up to her, give her the ring for her as an anniversary present before she realizes that it's him. So, and it doesn't wind up playing out like that. I'll get to that in a minute, but that's his plan, and everybody's very skeptical considering that he's apparently done this before and it hasn't gone over nearly as smoothly. So yeah, he's pretty adamant on the fact that it'll work this time, even though it probably won't. And it doesn't. I know, I've watched the episode, so I can tell you it doesn't. But he points out but then he decides to show off his ring that he bought, which is actually a Chaos Emerald. And since Sonic and his friends have a Chaos Emerald on their possession at the time, it causes both Chaos Emeralds to go off and cause a huge electrical surge, just like Tails warned us about. That basically fries all the electronics in the backstage room that they're in. So, and Nelson quickly picks up on this and closes the ring box. So, but that initial surge is enough to attract the attention of Dr. Eggman, who was flying nearby and picks up on it. And also gets the attention of Knuckles, who senses that there was a power surge and goes in to investigate immediately. And now they're both en route to the studio. So, but with that, everybody decides to help Nelson out with his plan, as crazy as it is. And sure enough, it works initially. He dresses up as the lead of the costume. He dresses up as a young prince because they're filming a movie about that apparently. And he tries to go up to Lindsey and pull her into an embrace when the time asks for it, but he trips and falls on his face, as he's doing this, Knuckles finally shows up and is confused as to what happens, and is a little confused as to what's going on. But then Nelson trips and Charles falls on his face, opens the box, accidentally opening the box and causing a power surge, which enables Eggman to pinpoint exactly which studio they're in. And sure enough, Sonic is very adamant that they need to close the box, and Mr. Tanaka immediately steps in and closes it. And sure enough, because Lindsey is a little bit annoyed that Nelson just kind of crashed their rehearsal, she's very annoyed at him. She points out that he shouldn't be there because he shouldn't just barge in while she's trying to work. And sure enough, he retaliates that at least he tries to visit her at work. But sure enough, they start arguing, which causes their anniversary to get off to a bit of a rocky start, I guess. But in case, as the gang contemplates as to whether anything could get any worse, Eggman rears his ugly head and just crashes into the studio. And sure enough, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles in unison remark that they're not surprised Eggman is there, and proceed to split up to actually try and distract Dr. Eggman and keep them away from the Thorndykes. And while they're doing that, Rouge and Topaz decide to come out of the rafters, and Rouge just steals the Chaos Emerald right out of Nelson's hand as they're arguing, and gloats that she points out that he doesn't really understand the worth of the Chaos Emerald, and points out that it's a bit too valuable to be used as a ring. But as she's explaining that to Nelson, Eggman actually steals it, and she and Topaz start wrestling over it. So they start wrestling with Eggman, but he eventually throws them off, and now has the Chaos Emerald, and decides to just finish up there by leaving his giant robot Weezo, a giant flame-breathing robot, to just wreck the place while he escapes with the Chaos Emerald. So, yeah, sure enough, it does exactly that. Sonic, Knuckles, and even Mr. Tanaka try to fight Weezo, and Nelson even steps up to defend his family. Mr. Tanaka, which is what causes Mr. Tanaka to jump in and try and fight the robot, he immediately gets slapped through a wall, and at which point Knuckles remarks what's wrong with him, and Sonic very honestly responds, too many kung fu movies. Which, yeah. Mr. Tanaka seems like he could be a competent fighter, but the problem is, he's not. He has no formal training whatsoever. He just watches way too many kung fu movies and immediately got slapped through a wall. So sure enough, after realizing Mr. Tanaka's basically not going to do anything, Sonic and Knuckles actually team up to actually take on Weasel. Knuckles tries to hold Weasel's tail, but gets knocked into a crate, and Sonic immediately draws Weasel's attention and lowers him into one of the back rooms, which causes Sonic to get cornered, yes, but eventually Knuckles catches up to him and quickly realizing that he's in a room with a bunch of empty aquariums, smashes one of them and gets Sonic to time his jumping right so that he actually avoids the water, which causes Weasel's nozzle to not work because now it's wet, and sure enough, Sonic and Knuckles are able to actually take down Weasel. And sure enough, Lindsey is just happy of the fact that everybody's okay, and that Nelson actually just stepped up to defend everybody, even though he had no chance of actually succeeding. And everybody decides that that's a better way than any to actually decide to go back into these festivities for the anniversary. Although Sonic and Eggman have Sonic and Knuckles have a bit of a back and forth about how it is a perfect reunion anniversary, except for the fact, and everything kind of worked out except for the fact that Eggman now has a Chaos Emerald. So yeah, now that there are 5 Chaos Emeralds in possession of Sonic and his friends, 1 in possession of Eggman, which leaves 1 left that nobody knows where it is. And sure enough, Rouge is very adamant to get one since the gun soldiers haven't actually gotten the one yet. There's 7 of them, and 6 of them are in possession of other people. So she's pretty adamant on the fact that she wants to at the very least find one and bring them all together because as she points out, it's sure to make a bit of an explosive climax. So yeah, the big takeaway from here is that Nelson doesn't know what a Chaos Emerald is. And also, apparently, he tries to impress his wife with these really extravagant ideas, and they just don't work. He just, like, the case in point, this is one example. This episode is one example of him trying to do it and not working. But apparently he's done this quite a few times, and she hasn't, and for whatever reason she's gotten sick of it, but he keeps doing it anyway. So, yeah. And also the other big thing to take away from this is that so Eggman now has a Chaos Emerald and has 1 out of 7. So yeah, everybody. I mean, there's 1 unaccounted for, and the other 5 are in the hands of Sonic and his friends, and Knuckles has one of the other ones. So between the heroes and the villains, it's kind of unbalanced because now Eggman has 1 and everybody else has 5. So I don't see so unless Eggman decides to actually steal them, which he does explain he plans to do at some point. I don't see him actually doing anything with that 1 Chaos Emerald that he has. Because he needs the full set to actually do a thing, and he doesn't, and he only has 1. So yeah, overall, this episode was cute. I like the idea of Nelson going in to try and try to impress his wife by doing something extravagant and stupid, and it not working, and apparently him having done this quite a few times. But yeah, overall this episode was just really cute. It was just Lindsey and Nelson trying and failing to celebrate their anniversary, and it just happened to getting in the middle of Eggman, like basically trying to get in the middle of everyone's crap. So yeah, they wind up having their anniversary, and because Nelson picked up a Chaos Emerald thinking and making it into a ring, it results in them getting involved in this episode, and their anniversary basically being ruined by Eggman. So yeah, overall that's what this episode was. Eggman has 1, and he basically ruined Nelson and Lindsey's anniversary of their wedding. So yeah. But in any case, yeah, that's my review of Sonic X. What did you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter in the description below. And also, be sure to check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, and you guys get access to a bunch of cool perks on my way of saying thanks. So be sure to check those out in the description below as well. But in any case, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!